Well, we're in Jacksonville, Florida. We're in Magnolia Gardens. If you walk around here and look at the name of the streets, they're all named after flowers. I grew up on Lobelia Street, this is Spire, going this way, Lantana, back over there, Japonica, it's over here. We moved in when I was 3 years old. House I grew up in was the biggest house, I guess because at the time I was real small, 4 years old. I wasn't this tall, guys, but grew up in this house. My mom, my dad, my sister, we all lived here. Growing up in Jacksonville was great, you know. We weren't rich. My dad was disabled, he was hurt on the job. My mom was a cook at Ponte Vedra Beach at the golf course out there. She didn't come home every day, she came home the weekends. And with that, my sister, she's 10 years older than me. She was my caretaker. But yeah, this is when I was growing up, this was the biggest house. Could you believe before we had the addition here, we had a piano sitting over here. This was my bedroom. Wasn't a large, gigantic room, but this is where I stayed. There were not a lot of memories in here because I was saying, the guys that I grew up with, we was outside all the time. We was not sitting here playing games and all. Ernest is my best friend down there, and Ernest lived on the other side of the ditch, and there was a ditch that kind of separated the neighborhood, and everybody on one side of the ditch, that was their group, and we was on the other side, my group.
And we used to war between each other. We didn't have the luxury of having BB guns. They did, this side did. We had to make our own bow down and throw rocks at them, and we always won too. But after that, we came to be real good friends, and the neighborhood took care of us. I want to say this part of it. Now, he was in the band.
All of my other friends were musicians. You know, they played trumpet, the trombone, drums, and all of that. I knew I couldn't understand how to play drums, and one of my friends' aunt played the trumpet, so I tried that trumpet. That wouldn't work. My other friend, Drunk, with Billy Wells, we call him Drunk, he played trombone, and I tried that, and that was embarrassing to me because I was the dumbest in the band, I said, you know. So one day we were at band practice, and the band director went down to the trombone section and had everybody play, and from the first seat all the way down to me, and I didn't know what to play, and he hit me on the head with this baton, and I said to myself, when this is over, they'll never see me in here again. So when band practice was over, I walked out, the varsity team was practicing, I said, I want to go out for the basketball team. And I started playing basketball at the 9th grade.
Well, he was a tall center. He played very well, and dunking was just becoming popular during that time. So he didn't have any problem with that whatsoever. But he had phenomenal skills, he really did. He wasn't the fastest man on the court, but he played the center well.
Loved basketball. See, I couldn't dribble. If I could dribble, I would never play football. You know, I just could not dribble. I still can't understand how they dribble that ball. And then my junior year, went out for baseball, and they had me first on third base, and then they put me on first base. I had a tryout with the Pittsburgh Pirates my senior year in high school. Till this day, I think my high school coach, I think he's still mad at me because I didn't bring my cleats with me.
I always thought he should have been a baseball player, but you didn't know he played a hell of a third base. And a lot of people thought he was gonna be a basketball player, but he was a better football player.
First time I went out, I couldn't get past calisthenics. You know, I wasn't in shape. I didn't know you had to get in shape. 9th grade, 10th grade, I went back out again. Could not make the team. My junior year, I went out for the football team again. Couldn't start, but I got a uniform.
All right, Harold was the quarterback in his senior year. I was the wide receiver, and I played defensive end. Harold played safety also. You know, we were kind of going both ways. And it was a surprise to me why our coach put him in quarterback. Because I said, told him he's supposed to be on the end, you know. But he was pretty good. He was pretty good at it.
I thought I was okay, but my offensive line was the worst offensive line. Jiggy, all of you guys, I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all were terrible. I think I got hit more than anybody on that field, any quarterback ever. And they'll come back in the huddle laughing because what player were they would not end up, I don't know why coach let them play, but I threw one touchdown and I ran a broken play in for a touchdown. And that's all I did in high school as far as football. I had a lot of basketball offers, college offers and all. But another one of my friends, he was my fullback, said, we're going to Southern. So he finally got his letter and they're saying what time to report. I said, well, I haven't got mine yet. I said, guess mine's probably lost in the mail. So we get to Southern and we get off the train, luggage and stuff, we all put it right in one spot. And we had this, one of the players guys out. He said, when I call your name, throw your bag on the truck. I was standing there, I was the last one on that dock. I said, what's your name? He looked at it. I said, Harold Carmichael. He said, what's your name again? How do you spell it? And he said, well, I can't leave you here. Throw your bags on the truck and come on. So, because we drive from downtown Baton Rouge and went into Southern University, they set us in the lobby of the dormitory. They said, when I call your name, come and pick up your key for your room. I was the last one sitting in the lobby. What's your name? We went through the same thing. He said, well, you better go see the head coach. So I went, they took me down to see the head coach, and he was in his office, and I, explained what happened. He said, but I remember you're from Jacksonville, right? I said, yeah. He said, well, just tell them to give you a room. Then I went back, they gave me a room and all, and so we started practice.
Well, when I saw Harold, obviously the first thing you think, well, man, guy had to have been a basketball player. He's got to be, what is he doing out here? But then after you see him run routes and catch the football, you say, oh, this is a tall receiver. But the thing about Harold was he was different. He knew he was different, and he knew if that ball was anywhere in his zone, he's gonna catch it.
And at the end of that, my freshman year, I was freshman of the year. I never even thought about being in NFL. I was just going day to day. I said, if I can get better each day, then if the next day will take care of itself. I had a decent year. Everybody's telling me I should be going between the first and third round. So everybody's sitting in my room, and we had Isaiah Robinson, Butch Robinson. He got drafted by the Rams. And then I had my roommate, he went to fifth round. A couple other guys went to second, third round. And then after the sixth round, NFL, just stopped broadcasting the draft. So I'm thinking, okay, draft's over, I guess, So I said, well, all right, I guess I'm not gonna get drafted. So I went down right off campus and had 2 beers and all. I came back, you had the payphone. It was on the wall, down the hallway. So all day they were saying, hey, so-and-so, you got a phone call, it's your agent. Get on the phone, there's nobody on the phone. So when I got back, one of the guys, they said, Harold, your agent called. He said, give him a call back. I said, oh, come on, man, I don't stop. He said, no, I'm joking. I'm not joking. He said, he called my agent's name. I said, okay. So I called him back. He said, yeah, you were drafted in the 7th round by the Eagles. I said, oh, wow, oh, great. So the Eagles called me and said, we're gonna send you a contract. I want you to sign. I said, okay. And said, we're gonna send you your bonus check. I said, okay. Never dreamed about this because you never knew if you're gonna make it in NFL. Back in the 60s and early 70s, not too many people, blacks were going into the NFL. I was in culture shock, because I never played with white players before. Looked around the room, it was all white coaches. I said, man, this is the late 60s, early 70s. A lot of prejudice going on around there. So I'm saying, oh man, this is wild and stuff. But some of those guys that I looked around at, the white guys, was some of my best friends, and still some of my best friends right now.
When Harold came out, I was tickled to death for him, man. And rooting for him, pulling for him, because I know what guys like us represent coming from HBC schools. We have to continue to prove that we deserve to be there, that we can perform at that level, and keep the doors open for the guys who are coming after us.
My rookie season, after I was drafted, we had the mini camp, and the first few days, guys are getting cut. I was catching the ball, I was catching pretty good, and I said, I can play this game. And that's when I really felt that I can play in the NFL. I caught 20 passes my first year. My second year, I caught 20 passes and a touchdown. I started crying on the sideline because it was so tough to get that first touchdown. I got so close that I just could not get that touchdown. So I finally got my first touchdown. I said, oh, this is not tough. My third year, I was back home in Jacksonville. I was in the den, laying down watching Watergate. The phone rang and my mom said, it's one of your coaches from the Eagles. I said, what is, I guess I'm getting cut or something, So they called me and said, we just traded Harold Jackson and we're looking for you to be our starting split end. And I said, okay, good. So I'm screaming, running around the house. My mom looking at me, what's wrong with you? I said, they said, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna be a starter and stuff. Came back 1973, I led the league in receptions. That really started me to really get very confident in myself. I would never tell anybody that I was good. My mom always said, let somebody else tell you how good you are.
I was a little bit wide-eyed and wild when I met Harold because, as a kid, I saw him play. And, just coming into football, you're already wide-eyed. But then when you meet a guy like Harold Carmichael and you've seen him and you're like, wow, Harold's in a locker next to me, it was kind of tough to deal with at first. And I thought I knew a lot of football, but when I came into the league, I really didn't know anything. I learned most of my football in my rookie season. And watching him, having Dick Vermeil, who's the head coach at the time, scream at me and try and get me to do things the way Harold was doing things. And I watched him and I took a lot of notes, like a lot of mental notes, because at one time he was the threat. He was on a team that lost a lot of games. It's one of the reasons why I think he was so phenomenal. Teams knew that that was where the ball was going to go. And Harold still was able to dominate, even when they're trying everything that they could to take him away. And that's an era where defensive backs could do anything they wanted to do to you, and he still was dominant.
This has been a great time for me, especially the past 6 months, going to Southern University's Ring of Honor along with Mel Blount. While I'm talking about Mel Blount, he's the one that got me ready for the National Football League. And beating me up every day in practice in college and stuff. I mean, everybody else will catch a ball, he'll two-hand touch them, but I catch it, he'll clothesline me,
Harold always say, even now when he see me, he said, man, this guy used to beat me up, he didn't like me. But no, we went at each other. He made me better, and I think that I made him better, but there were competitive, really high-intensity practices that we had against each other. And I think it was good. I think it was good for both of us.
With every accomplishment, we felt a sense of pride that was our Harold.
I got some people out there, my high school friends from the Gardens, from Magnolia Gardens. These guys are from Rains High School, most of them, all of them are from Rains High School. And people always talk about, ask me, how did I get here? Those people helped me.
I thank Harold for how he stayed friendly with us through all that he's been through, and how successful he are, he's still been our close friend. He's been a buddy, a real good friend to us, and we respect that out of him. His character never changed, and to be with him on the Black College Hall of Fame, I enjoyed that. We were so proud of him. He knows how we love him, He's just a lovable guy. Down in my heart, I just got a special place for him.
We're there for each other if we're sick. We're there for each other for their wives, children's births, deaths, So we've just always been a part of each other's lives. And when you are really true friends, it never changes.
To be a good person, a good athlete, a good community person, good role model, it says a lot about who you are, a lot about how you was raised. And so I think all those things are part of what Harold is all about.
A guy who in so many ways was so big when I came to Philadelphia, just never turned anybody away, turned anybody down. He's always been kind to people. You know, it could be the guy who owns the building and owns the team, or it could be the guy who has to clean the place, and he gives them the same type of respect. That type of person I really appreciate and enjoy. You know, I grew up with 5 brothers, older brothers. To me, he's been like my brother away from home, and you know, I've grown to love the guy over the years and highly respect the man that he is.